What do you think that companies are most interested in, broadly speaking, of those attending this conference? Stock buyback, special dividend, acquisitions? Do you think there's a preference on what to do with cash, or maybe there's also an issue talking with some retailers that they have cash overseas that they're having difficulty repatriating because of the taxes involved? What's sort of your thought there?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think number one, in 2012 in particular, you're going to see a lot of activist activity around that exact question, which is how do you allocate your capital? What are you going to do with it? I think the standard answer for companies over the years has been our board will take a look at it every quarter and decide what we're going to do with our capital. I think you'll see an increased level of activist activity pushing for dividends and buybacks. Now, a dividend is like getting married, a buyback is like having a girlfriend. When you establish a dividend, you better be prepared to keep paying it and increasing it, and it's something you can't pull back without signaling big trouble for the company. But with a buyback, if you say, listen, we're going to buy back $500 million worth of stock, you can be in and out of the market as needed, and investors know there's always a support level for the stock. And so it's one of those things where, in combination with organic growth, building new stores, reinvesting in the brand, the buyback is just another way to create value for companies. And again, it goes back to that balance sheet question. Great balance sheets, great cash flow, a good brand. It gives them a lot of levers to pull to grow. And, just touching on the international aspect, I think the government is kind of, overriding Wall Street at the moment, particularly in an election year, and there's a lot of talk about doing away with the rules where you can't bring the cash back. I don't know whether that's going to happen or not going to happen, but typically, when you go into looking at M&A or whatever, companies that have that cash over there, they're typically going to buy businesses in Europe or wherever. And as cash builds, if the business is doing well, I think there'll be a pretty big market for M&A, in 2012 to buy growth.